Another feature that I consider important to mention in the life of Iran is censorship. It's an open secret that you can't speak badly about the government. And not only that, but all social networks are banned. And of course, there are no American franchises like McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, nothing. Men can get married from the age of 15, women from the age of 9. Well, women, girls, not even teenagers. And these are just some of the things, right? Iran, a land of eternal contrasts, where the youth dream of freedom, while the oldest traditions grip every corner of life tightly. Here, modernity doesn't move forward freely. It clashes, it stumbles, it faces centuries of history every day. Pride and pain. In Iran, every street, every glance bears the mark of a past that refuses to disappear. It's not a country that forgets, it's a country that remembers, that clings to its memory to define its future. Today, Iran continues to walk between yesterday and tomorrow.
Stay so I can tell you about a life that few dare to talk about, but that we all should know.
Hello, how are those travel enthusiasts doing? In a new video about the ancient Persian Empire, we are in Iran, and we're going to talk to you, as you read in the title of this video, about what life is like in Iran. In this video, we're going to be exploring a bit of the history, the culture, the society, the gastronomy, and a few interesting facts about this beautiful country that we've already been exploring for a couple of days. We came to eat at a traditional Iranian restaurant. The style of the tables is like they're set on some boards and they put carpets down so you can sit barefoot. Usually you eat with your hand, or they only give you a fork and a spoon, there's no knife. And every Iranian meal starts with a good plate of yogurt with garlic. It's not just any yogurt, it's a yogurt that's a bit sour, a little salty. But I swear my mouth is watering just telling you about it. It's just too good. And with some bread, or with chicken, with rice, with meat, with anything. This yogurt is the perfect sauce. Check out this tasty food that just got here for us. This dish is similar to the Arabic baba ganoush, but it's an eggplant cream with some differences. Over here we have a vegetable cream, kind of like a stew. And over there we have some chicken wings, of course, served with a bit of rice and yogurt. We're about to try it. Let's open the bread. It looks like a pancake. Let's try this cream first. It's excellent. Now let's try the filling. I don't know what this is. It looks like a meatball. This is a vegetable stew, but it also has some meat. I don't know if it's lamb. It has some chickpeas. No, what? I'm a huge fan of stews. Well, finally, the little chicken, which look with the yogurt like this. Iranian food is so good. Really, I'm fascinated. Simple, homemade, but delicious. It has such great flavor. Enjoy your meal. And to finish, a delicious little coffee. Here, there's a lot of tea, but I have to admit, I don't like it at all. Also, unlike, for example, Arabic tea, here they add things like saffron or cardamom, and that gives it a stronger flavor, so I like it even less. Oh, it's healthier because it has properties, that's true, but it's just not for me. Our first stop on this tour is going to be at an ancient ice factory. And I want to combine this video by asking questions about life today with historical tours, places of interest to balance out the tensions we're going to experience throughout this episode. I know it's going to be pretty controversial, pretty tough, intense, hard to process. So I also want to show you inventions, wonders of this country. Well, look at human abilities and ingenuity. This was an ice factory 400 years ago. What you see here in front were pools that during the winter were filled with water, and since the temperatures dropped below 0 degrees, they would freeze. Then they would cut that ice into portions and store it in a warehouse inside this structure, which unfortunately is closed. And it could stay there from winter until summer. So they sold the ice to governors, kings, and the top people. The cleanest ice without any dirt, the hardest, the biggest pieces. And then the medium quality ice was sold to merchants who came to do their route crossing the whole desert. Finally, the ice that was dirty, all scraped and scratched and so on, they used it to make drinks and little ice creams and, well, to sell it to regular people. You can imagine that the storage area of this ice factory was as deep as the height of that adobe dome you see in front of you. Unfortunately, we're backlit and you can't see it very well, but it's huge. That goes underground as well, and that's why it was preserved for so long. Meet Fereidon. He's going to be helping me in this video, finding out a bit about what life is like in Iran. Fer, tell me a little about yourself.
Well, I'm Fereidon. Fereidon is usually hard for you guys, so Fer is fine. I'm a very modest person, so I have to tell you that I'm the best guide in Iran. Well, I've been working as a guide for a few years, and we have a travel agency in Iran to be at your service.
Feri, how would you describe life in Iran to me?
Well, life in Iran, Iranian people, well, obviously, I'm not going to say bad things, but no, seriously. The people of Iran, the simple people, the people who are only and only looking for peace. That thing about Iran, well, the people of Iran looking for war, I don't know, no, nothing. The only thing the people of Iran want is to be at peace, to get along with everyone, to welcome everyone here, and to have a simple, comfortable, peaceful life, just like everyone else wants.
The government is not the same as the people, right?
Well, this question is a bit critical, but sometimes maybe those in the government have to or want to or act in ways that cause some conflicts. But I, as an Iranian, well, I don't want that. And what I see and what we experience is a simple thing.
We continue our journey, this time through a caravanserai, which were a kind of one-night hotels. In ancient times, here passing merchants would come. They could sleep in arches like those you see there at an affordable price. Or there were also some more private rooms, shared rooms. This place was a combination of a hostel, hotel, and possibly even a motel. No, and it's very interesting because the architecture is really beautiful. Then they would set up their tent, their camping tent there, and on these wooden posts you see here, they would tie up the camels or the horses, depending on the case. These places are impressive because they were very well ventilated and had something called wind towers, specifically for the aqueducts. That's where they stored the water that came from the whole mountain. And with the wind towers, which I'll show you now from the outside, they could keep the water drinkable and fresh. And then around the hotel, there were these little stalls where people sold their handicrafts and textiles and other products. And in the center of the hotel, there were these platforms so that the camels, which were super tall, could unload their materials, everything they carried on their backs. And it would be easier for people, you know. Ferry, next question. How is security in Iran? What are the crime rates like? Tell me a little more.
Well, security in Iran. I'm going to tell you something that I think you won't believe, but it's a super safe country, really super safe. Well, nothing has ever happened to us, but well, we're just like anywhere else in the world. It could be that a robbery happens. I don't know, maybe someone takes your phone like anywhere else in the world, but it's not like some countries. If you don't watch your phone, they'll steal it right away. No, it's not like that at all. And for tourists, even more so, because the so-called thieves would never do that. To tourists, because, well, on the other hand, tourist safety is also very important to the government. So nothing would ever happen to tourists. In fact, we had many solo female travelers who came here and spent 10 or 20 days here. No, not at all, absolutely zero.
So is it safe for a woman to come to Iran alone?
Alone? Yes. I can even tell you that if you want to come alone, you don't need any guide, nothing at all. But well, there's a language that's quite, let's say, difficult, complicated, and a lot of things like exchanging money and those kinds of things. That's why it's recommended to have a guide, to have support from an agency. But when it comes to safety, not at all.
I can't believe I just got hit with such a strong smell of weed that it really surprised me. I mean, liquor is 100% illegal. Here in Iran, you could get into very serious trouble if you drink alcohol. In fact, there are no bars, no nightclubs, nothing. There are only some underground places or black markets where you could get a bottle of alcohol if you wanted to. But smelling weed surprised me. Ferry, do people smoke here? And he says to me, well, young people are young, and yes, it might be illegal, but they do it. And wow, we're walking, well, in the middle of the street. It's really windy. I don't know exactly where from. I didn't see the person, but without a doubt, the smell is super recognizable. Ferry, where are we?
Well, we've arrived in Yazd, the city registered by United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization as the Adobe City. Yes, we made it here. We're in a typical house, super typical, which is now a hotel, a boutique hotel. Normally in this city, in this region, hotels are like this, well, for small groups. We enjoyed 2 nights like this, and we then went to another city.
Join me to see our room for the first time. Wow, it's so beautiful. Wow. Look. Wow, they gave me so much fruit here. That's enough for a whole family, and there are also some sweets here. Over here just for me, and let's see how the bathroom is. Oh, it has another floor. Wow. Pretty classic. To understand life in Iran today, we first have to travel to the past and learn a bit about its history. Until the 7th century, Iran was known as the Persian Empire, one of the largest and most sophisticated of all antiquity. Its official religion was Zoroastrianism, one of the oldest monotheistic beliefs in the world. The Persians believed in Ahura Mazda, the god of wisdom and supreme good, and their philosophy revolved around an eternal battle between good and evil. But in the 7th century, everything would change. The Arab Muslims conquered the territory and introduced Sunni Islam. At first, Persia managed to maintain some cultural plurality and experienced a period of intellectual flourishing. Science, philosophy, medicine, poetry, and art flourished in what we now remember as the Islamic Golden Age. Now we jump to the 16th century. With the arrival of the Safavid dynasty, Shiism was established as the official religion. Religious control increased, although Iran still did not become a theocratic state. Depending on the region, there were more conservative areas and others that were more open. But the big plot twist in this story came in 1925. Reza Shah Pahlavi takes power, overthrowing the last remnants of regional control. An era of transformation begins. The power of the clerics is reduced, and the mandatory use of the veil disappears. European civil codes are introduced. Secular education focused on science, history, and art is promoted, and the country modernizes with universities, highways, and railroads. In the 1960s and 1970s, Tehran, the capital, is transformed. Nightclubs and bars open, the sale of alcohol is allowed, and Western fashion is introduced. Yes, women wearing miniskirts, low-cut tops, and high heels were part of everyday life in Iran. But not everything was perfect. The Pahlavi dynasty also ruled in an authoritarian way. The Shah used the brutal secret police called Zabak to suppress those who opposed him. For many religious people and poor sectors, the country had lost its Islamic identity and had sold itself to the West. And then, in 1979, the Islamic Revolution broke out, led by Ayatollah Rosla Khomeini, a Shia cleric, who knew how to channel all that discontent among the population to overthrow the Shah. At that moment, the Islamic Republic of Iran was born. Since then, Sharia law has become the basis for all laws. The hijab is mandatory for all women. In public spaces, alcohol, Western music, and public dancing are prohibited, and bars, nightclubs, and cinemas are completely shut down. Censorship is imposed not only on art, but on all forms of media. Today, although Iran holds presidential elections every 4 years, and each president can be re-elected for a maximum of 2 terms, the real power does not lie with the president, but with the supreme leader, a cleric who is above the parliament, the president, and all state institutions. This is the story that shapes the life of Iran as we know it today. We left the hotel and passed by a small local shop that sells sugar, crystallized, but I had never seen it in this form before. Look, here it's whiter but a little yellowish, and over here it's kind of brownish orange. And travelers, I know you must be wondering, look, and since the guide doesn't just tell you that everything is safe, that everything is very nice and all, just to be able to sell their tours, and not because that's the reality of living here. No, honestly, I've gone out alone at night in the city. This country is pretty safe. Well, generally speaking, all the countries that have Sharia law, or Sharia, I don't know how you pronounce it, are very safe. But at what cost? You know that here, stealing, abusing women, even drinking alcohol can carry the death penalty, so people think twice before committing a crime. But again, I don't know if this is the best way to fight crime. But that's the reality of what people experience here and in many other countries that also have this law. A couple of years ago, I was in Brunei, which is the last monarchical dictatorship on the planet. And they also have this law very present in the daily life of the country. This, as I mentioned, is the same law that forbids women from going out on the street without a veil. Although I feel that in the last 2 years, or at least that's what Fereidon tells me, it has become a bit more flexible. I've seen many women without the veil. Of course, they wear it around their neck like a scarf, so to speak. so that if they have to put it on, they do. But I've seen many women without the veil. Well, actually, while I'm talking, right next to me, look, there are 2 women without a veil. Now, we men can't walk around in just a t-shirt or shorts. I like to wear a t-shirt and this guayabera on top. And Ferry told me, brother, you can't take off your shirt for anything. I mean, I can't have my shoulders uncovered. I, as a man, can't go out in shorts. It's totally forbidden to wear short pants. And these are just some of the things, right? Of course, alcohol is totally forbidden. Dancing, public displays of affection. You can't walk holding hands with someone who isn't your wife. You can't even do that with your wife. Nothing. No kissing in the street. None of that. Well, these are some of the laws, especially about public behavior. Then there's a part that's a bit more intense when it comes to talking about things like family. Men can get married starting at 15 years old and women starting at 9 years old. Well, women, actually girls, not even teenagers, can be married off. And to get a divorce, the man can do it whenever he wants. But the woman needs a valid excuse with witnesses. Like if the man is unfaithful, or if the man is on drugs, or if the man can't provide for the household. So she can go before a cleric who is like a judge of the religion and appeal for them to grant her the divorce. Of course, the inheritance mostly goes to a son rather than a daughter if they have both. And if they separate, the custody of the children goes to the father, not the mother. Without the right to appeal by default, unless, again, it is proven that the father cannot support the family. And when you're traveling, it's never too late to have a good cup of coffee, which I have to point out, I haven't had a single bad coffee in Iran. They've all been wonderful. Look at what I'm telling you, how beautiful these places are. Seriously, travelers, try to put Iran on your list of destinations. I forgot to show you the wind towers when we visited the caravanserai in the afternoon. But they're exactly these that you see here in the background of the video. And they worked not only to ventilate the spaces, but also to purify the water. And it was said that the more openings the wind tower had, the more money the owner of the property had. I'm really impressed by the hallways we're walking through with all the adobe buildings surrounding this place. Even the boys' music transported me to such a wonderful place of peace that it makes me want to ask Ferry, what do you do here for fun on the weekends? And that's what she's going to answer for us right now. Ferry, tell me, what do you usually do for fun on the weekends during your vacations?
Well, to have fun, honestly, we do what you guys do, just without drinking alcohol. And another thing, we don't go into the pools while men and women together. That's something that for us as Muslims is forbidden. We don't do it, we shouldn't do it, we shouldn't drink alcohol. We don't like to drink alcohol. But for everything else, we gather with family and friends. on weekends at shopping malls to go shopping, doing things like that, like what everyone does all over the world.
Okay, but without alcohol.
Without liquor.
Okay, okay. I am fascinated by Iranian craftsmanship, and I think I've already mentioned it to you in other videos. If it weren't for the fact that I still have about 4 or 5 countries left on this trip, I pack everything in my suitcase. As you can see, copper products with turquoise stones are some of the most popular here in Iran, and Feri is going to explain to us how they are made.
Well, we have some copper. Then these pieces of turquoise are glued on with a kind of adhesive, or rather a kind of paste. They're attached like this all around. What we need to know is that, as the master explains, turquoise, when it's exposed to open air, oxidizes and loses its color. So they stick them around with some kind of special adhesive or paste. Then they polish them. It comes out like this. It already has color, a layer of polyester, and it comes out this shiny, something small, so you can hold it. That's the difference.
Wow! Look at this other type of craft, which is made with pieces of wood, camel bone, pieces of copper, and other metals. On the other side, look how it looks. Then, once they have it ready, they slice it, so to speak, into thin strips. I'll show you the final result in a moment. From what's here, from the final product, is this right here, already polished and ready for sale. Look, there's another one. It's impressive. Look at how it is from the back when they're processing it. There's wood there, camel bones, copper, and other metals. Iranian craftsmen are impressive. Wow, poetry and art everywhere. I am fascinated walking through these streets of Iran, but I'm also very tired. So we're going to sleep now, and tomorrow we'll continue with this video, finding out what life is like in this country. New day, same video, same clothes. Of course, you know that when we're traveling, we have the right to wear each outfit at least 2 or 3 times. Picture a small suitcase with only 10 outfits to last 3 months. You'd have to be resourceful. But anyway, travelers, today we came to the Towers of Silence. And these were the cemeteries in the religion of Zoroastrianism, which I have mentioned to you before, and they were still used until 70 years ago, when this practice was completely banned. And I'm going to explain why. Inside these cemeteries, there are 2 important places. The one you see in front, where they prepare the dead, and then here, where they place the corpses. In Zoroastrianism, the greatest sin was to bury the bodies, because they believed deeply in the elements of nature: fire, air, water, and earth. And they said that by burying the bodies, they were contaminating the earth. So what they did was prepare the body in these rooms behind us, pray over it, and so on, and then they would take it up there. Come with me upstairs and I'll explain what they did with the bodies in the Towers of Silence. These stairs we're climbing didn't exist in ancient times. They were put in recently for tourism purposes, but before they were just hills. Just like the one you see over there in front, which doesn't have stairs but rather a steep climb up the dirt. As you can see, back there is where the bodies were prepared, and here, after climbing almost all the way up, we reached the first level, where the relatives would stay. From here up, only the employees of this cemetery could continue carrying the body. and the relatives had to go back. If you look at the places where they prepared the bodies, they are shaped like a cross. And the cross has always been present in thousands of years ago in different practices and religions. We arrived to the top of this little hill, and we're going to enter to show you how impressive this place is. Okay. You can see that it is a giant circle. Divide this into 3 different diameters. In the part closest to the wall, so to speak, they place the bodies of the men, then in the middle, the women, and a little more toward the center, the children. They left the body for a week so that the vultures would eat it. These walls you see behind were much higher, so no other animal except the vultures had access to this place. And that's because they believed in the perfect balance of nature. Once all the meat had been eaten and only the bones of men, women, and children were left, they would bring them here, to this hole you see here. They would place them there, pour lime over them, pour natural oils, and cover them with a bit of soil. And there, they let it become part of nature, without any kind of contamination. Look at this, how interesting. We came to the Temple of Fire, but before showing it to you, Fer has something to show us.
All right, we grabbed this. Let's check out a Persian invention, okay? Persian magic. We grabbed a piece of straw.
Straw.
Straw, that's it, straw. We put it in here, press this button, and that's it.
What?
Wow. And then we put it in here. That's it, it's over. So we don't use so much plastic.
Now we've arrived at the Fire Temple, one of the most important sites in the Zoroastrian religion. Right above is Zarathustra, who is like the prophet, so to speak, of this religion. And when they asked him what was needed to be part of this religion, there are 3 writings that are very simple. You can see them right there in the shape of a triangle. And one is to speak well, think well, and behave well. Nothing else. I'm coming out from the inner part of the temple where I found the eternal flame. They say it's been burning for more than 1500 years and is fueled by coal. So people have been taking turns every 8 hours to add coal to it for more than 1500 years. Unfortunately, it has a kind of glass cover, so it couldn't be seen clearly through the camera. But Fereidon showed it to me in a video on his phone, and you can see it much better. Hey, I have other questions about life in Iran because you read a lot on the internet, but it's best to check with a local. What is the minimum wage in this country?
Well, the minimum wage, to tell you what is official, is almost $130, $140 a month, which is worth nothing. According to the inflation we have, well, that money, you could say that more or less, nobody really earns that money. Well, obviously there are employees who earn it, who get paid maybe a little more because, well, we have extra work, extra hours that they work. But people like that with families, they definitely have to have another job or at least other work shifts. Or those who work in the market or in other fields usually earn more. Because to be able to support a family of 3 people, at least, you need something like $300 a month.
And women don't work.
Women work very easily, everything that men do, more or less. For example, in the field of car repair, well, no, much less, almost never. But in universities, in organizations, In offices, yes, it's normal, totally normal. They work and earn, but they earn the same as men.
Exactly. So, both the man and the woman could work to reach those $300 approximately and support the household.
Yes, and culture, well, before it wasn't like that here. We had a somewhat more conservative culture, let's say, with more respect for women. Mother always took care of and still takes care of the family at home. But, well, the world is changing, the economic situation too, and people's ideology as well. And they also want to, can, and do work.
Okay, thank you, Ferry. Right now we came to see a Persian house, and not only is the exterior beautiful, but the interior is also very interesting. How they managed to get water, and they were explaining to me that from the mountain, 2,500 years ago, they built aqueducts and had a distribution system, which honestly they were geniuses for their time. I mean, the engineering, everything they had to think about to be able to distribute the water and store it during the winter so they could have enough water for the summer, the times of drought. It was wow. Many houses had this place, which was called Sardab, and basically it was for gathering. It was about 15 meters underground where the water also flowed. So here, they held family gatherings because the temperature outside was 40 or 50 degrees. Also, as you can see, in this part over here, they could preserve food, fruits, and meat because here, not only because of the flow of water, but also because of the depth, it was very, very cool. I descended the stairs you see there and could immediately feel the temperature change. Another characteristic that I think is important to mention in Iran's life is censorship. It's an open secret that you can't speak badly about the government. And not only that, but all social networks are banned and people have to use a VPN to access Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. However, the internet speed is so slow that sometimes it's almost impossible to access information. I've tried to keep my posts, at least on Instagram, in real time, and it's been impossible for me. Here in Iran, if you come, the VPNs we know in the West don't work here. I have NordVPN, TunnelBear, CyberGhost. They literally don't work. The guide downloaded a VPN for me that's super random and crashes every half hour. You must watch an ad video to reactivate it. It's a whole hassle, but it's the daily life of Iranians. There are no American franchises such as McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or Burger King in the area. Although today, interestingly, I saw some Starbucks cups in a cafe. Obviously, it wasn't a Starbucks. I imagine they had some fake cups made. But nothing, absolutely nothing. Here, they don't want to leave a single trace of westernization, so to speak. Look at these pros. These spots are all over the street. In fact, there's one here and another one over there. I don't know if you can see it there. They're not just drinking water spots, but cold water ones. Let's check it out, let's see. Really good, just and necessary. And that's even though it's not summer yet, but the heat is already getting intense. Now we came to see the mosque that has the tallest minarets in the country at 57 meters high. It's a spectacle. One of the things that has surprised me the most when I came in and looked at it closely is finding the symbol of the swastika, which some of us know from the time of Hitler and the Nazis. But actually this symbol is thousands of years old. In ancient times, they represented the four elements: water, fire, earth, and air. And later, with the arrival of Islam, it represented the unity between different branches or sects of Islam, to unify them all under the same belief. Free, if someone wants to come to Iran, what should they do?
Well, nothing special. They just write to me. I'll ask them for some documents. Well, really simple ones like a personal photo, a passport photo, and a form they need to fill out. There are nationalities that theoretically, officially don't need a visa, like Venezuelans, people from Peru, from Mexico, from Brazil. But it's always recommended, since the process is easy and we always include it in the trips, it's always a good idea to have it, so we always get it easily. There's no need to go to any embassy or anything like that. I handle, let's say, the process, the paperwork. I send them a document, which is the visa. They enter the airport, and that's it. They're in the country. And listen, to come to Iran, when they're here, when they arrive here, they don't stamp the passports. There are people who are worried about having the Iran stamp in their passport for some countries, but here they don't stamp anything from Iran.
And yes, Ferry mentioned something very interesting. If you search on the internet for Venezuelans, they don't require a visa. However, he told me, let's get the visa just to be sure. When I arrived at the airport, they told me I needed a visa, but as a Venezuelan, I don't need one. But also, arguing or debating with an immigration officer in Iran was not my intention. So I went to the booth where you get the visa, and I handed over the visa that Ferry had already gotten for me. And I did absolutely nothing except fill out the form for him, but he took care of everything, and that was it. It was really quick. It cost $45, if I'm not mistaken, and they let you in without stamping your passport. Look how interesting. On the doors of houses in Iran, in the past, door knockers were separated according to the gender of the person who was knocking. If it was a man on this side, he would make this sound. If you notice, it's a bit deeper. Now for the women. It's a slightly higher pitched sound. That way, the people living in the house knew whether a man or a woman had to come to greet the person. Travelers, I'm going to end this video here. Don't forget to leave me a comment if you have any other questions or doubts about what life is like in Iran. And of course, together with my guide Ferry, we will be answering and trying to clear up all your questions. You already know, if you want to come to Iran, don't forget to contact him, follow him on his Instagram account. Follow B Persia, because there they will be posting the different packages and different destinations. I came to Iran for 8 days, but there are plans for 10, 16, 20, even up to a month. This is a very, very big country, and it has an amazing diversity for you to come and explore whenever you want.